Hey guys, today we'll be talking about simplifying exponential expressions. We went over this last Friday, but we're just going to review this a little bit again today. Okay, so go ahead and get the notes that I've printed off for you, and you need to be taking notes along with this video. Okay, so first off we're going to go over the 6 steps of knowing when you're done solving exponential expressions. So make sure you get each of these steps down. Okay, so the first step is that there are no negative exponents. No negative exponents in a completed exponential expression. Okay, second thing, there are no exponents on numbers. There are no exponents on numbers. So for example, you couldn't have 2 to the third. Okay, that would be 2 times 2 times 2 instead. Can't leave an exponent on a number. Third, there are no repeating letters. All of those must be combined, so you must combine like term. No repeating variables. The fourth thing, there's no parentheses. Okay, so you must distribute whenever you see parentheses. Okay, so no parentheses. The fifth thing, there are no zero exponents. So you can't have x to the 0. Okay, so no 0 exponents. And the last thing, just reduce your fractions. Okay, so make sure they're in lowest form. Okay, so there's your 6 things that make sure you know that you're done solving an exponential expression. Okay, so we're going to practice a few problems. Okay, so remember, last time we talked about 0 exponents. Every time you have a 0 in the exponent spot, so let's say it's n to the 0, no matter what, if you have an exponent that has a 0, that whole expression will equal 1. So n to the 0 would equal 1. X to the 0 would equal 1. 1 to the 0 would equal 1. On and on and on and on. Anything to the 0 power is always going to equal 1. Okay, so let's go ahead and go over a few examples. Okay, so we have 4m to the 0, and the first thing you must know is that your variable to the exponent is separate from the number out front. So you've got to separate it out a little bit. Okay, so think of it as m to the 0, and of course we know m to the 0 is just 1. So we've got 4 times 1, and of course that is 4. Okay, so make sure you don't include that coefficient out front. It's separate from the variable and its exponent. Okay, so let's look at the second one. Okay, we have p to the 0, and of course we know anything to the 0 power is 1. And we have 1 over 3. Okay, so that one's pretty quick. Third one, let's try a different color. Try rainbow. Okay, so we have x to the 5th times 6 to the 0. We know anything to the 0 power is 1. So we have x to the 5th times 1. And anything times 1 is itself. So we have x to the 5th. Okay, let's try the u-tries. 4.2 to the 0. Anything to the 0 power is 1. So we have 1. Second one, we have b to the 0, which is 1. And c to the 0, which is 1, and 1 times 1 is 1. Number 3, we have a to the 0, which is 1, and 1 times x to the 3rd is just itself, or x to the 3rd. And the last one, remember you have to separate it out. Do not include the coefficient. So r to the 0 is 1, so we have 2 times 1 times m cubed. 2 times 1 is 2, and we have m cubed on the end. Okay, so that is 0 exponents. You just must know that anything to the 0 power is 1. Okay, now we're going to move to negative exponents. Negative exponents have a rule of their own. You cannot have a negative exponent in a simplified exponential expression. Okay, so if you have a negative exponent upstairs or in the numerator, you're going to send him to the basement or the denominator. And if it's in the denominator, you send it to the numerator. Okay, so once again, you must treat the variable as its own entity. You cannot include the coefficient out front. Okay, so let's do a couple of examples. Okay, so this first one, we're going to use the invisible number 1 just as a placeholder, make it a little easier for us. Okay, so we can't have a negative exponent, so we're just going to flip him down to the basement. Okay, so instead of him being upstairs, he'll be downstairs. So send him downstairs, change the sign. Okay, so instead of being in the numerator, he's now in the denominator. Practice a few of these, you'll get it. Okay, so second one, we have 1 over a to the minus 3. We can't have a negative exponent. So instead of being in the basement, we're going to send him upstairs. Okay, if you want to put that 1 on the bottom, that's fine, but you don't have to. Okay, let's try the third one. This one's you got to be careful because you can't include the coefficient. Okay, so we're going to leave the 5 upstairs, but we're going to send the h downstairs. Okay, let's try the next one. You're leaving everything alone except for the variable and its negative exponent. So 7 stays upstairs, a comes upstairs and change the sign, and the 4 stays downstairs. Okay, let's try a few more, and we'll call it good. Okay, so we got 4w to the negative 80. Instead of being in the numerator, we'll send him to the denominator, and the 4 stays up top. Easy as that. And the next one, we're going to send the exponent in the denominator to the numerator. Everything else stays where it is. And 2 more. Leave negative 9 up top, and your exponent goes downstairs. And the last one, leaving everything where it is except for your negative exponent. So you have negative 2 p to the 100 over 13. Your summary of this, when your negative exponents are on the top of a fraction, so if your negative exponent, let's say it's x to the negative 2 over 3, you're going to send him to the bottom. And if it's in the bottom, you're going to send it to the top. Okay, so you guys are going to have some time to work on some homework for the rest of class. Have a good one.